Watching birds eat and using AI are two subjects you don't normally see together in a sentence. So you may think I'm a little crazy when I talk about how watching birds feed brought me one of my greatest epiphanies to how I've been using AI and how I'm sure you have been using AI. There are amazing things about AI, but there's also some major pitfalls, especially for traditionally non-technical users, that we need to be aware of. And I think it's leading to more burnout, stress, and actually feeling more behind than we did pre-AI. Now, AI has been amazing, but again, before AI, we had limitations, and that was just the name of the game. We were strong in some things and weak in others. We had to study and get good at a craft to be able to have value in the market. And as a business owner, as someone who is operating probably from a non-technical perspective, you may have these ideas, but you were stopped by your limitations. You had to hire a developer, you may need to outsource to an agency, and that costs time, it costs money. So you would think about the decision and run it through analysis to see, is this even worth pursuing? Now in the AI era, every idea that comes to your mind, you can have a working prototype in an afternoon by using your natural language with an LLM chatbot. And this is an incredible thing to be able to do, because now all of your creativity, all of your expertise, all the nuance that you've picked up over the years, you can now take those ideas and test them really quickly. You can get really fast feedback. However, now that we have this ability, it's like jumping on the treadmill that just keeps speeding up and never stops. And I'm sure that if you've been working with AI for any amount of time, you've felt that feeling of burnout. And the LLMs are built to have you continue working. If you ever notice that when you are working with an LLM, it always ends with a next suggestion, or I may have found this other thing, would you like to explore it? And it never stops. You can continue to dig with AI, and before you know it, you don't even know what you're digging for anymore. You don't even know which hole you're in, and you're probably starting to feel pretty burnt out from the constant stimulus of the output of the LLM. It can get tiring. You can only process so much information. You can only really think about an idea or a concept and at your sharpest for any given amount of time. And the chatbot itself has no limit. It could go and go and go until you run out of token usage. So that's a real problem when it comes to not only your ability to move fast and into market, but also how do you filter your ideas now? How do you figure out what idea is worth pursuing? What part of your business actually drives revenue? What kind of part of your business could you remove yourself from? Do you need to just eliminate it altogether, or can you create an automation, or does it really need your human input? How do we make these decisions? Because if you go to a chatbot, it could give you a bunch of different ways to tackle problems, and it sounds confidently right a lot of the time, but it could be the wrong choice. All right, so this brings me back to watching birds feed. And as I was sitting outside in Wisconsin on a vacation, on a porch, there was a feeder, and there was all these birds coming and eating the seed. And I thought to myself, first of all, how amazing of a way to meditate. I never understood watching birds or bird watchers before, but now I could get it, because there's something meditative about watching a bird come in and leave, another bird come in and leave, another bird come in and leave, to where I wasn't thinking about anything else but the birds and the feed. And as someone who has ADHD, it's actually a really good way to clear your mind, because you're kind of having stimulus, but you're also focusing. And it was a little bit of a detour. But the thing is if the seed in the bird feeder wasn't the right seed, or the bird feeder wasn't in the right place or at the right height, it would attract no birds. You would have nothing. There would be nothing coming in, coming out. Or if you overloaded it with a bunch of feed, you may not even get birds. You might just get squirrels and other random animals coming to look for some lunch. And I can see the parallel in this with AI, because AI will give you any kind of seed you want. it doesn't mean that it's the right seed to attract the right bird that's going to help you succeed with whatever it is you're trying to succeed with. And if anything, if you just overload it with all of your seeds, then you're just going to attract all the birds, and 80% of those birds don't need to be attracted to the feeder. I think that now with the explosion of AI and the ability for our creativity to be so easily tapped into and brought to life, that the instinct is to just token max, to 10x, to run all these experiments and then have a folder that's just filled with half-baked ideas that we never actually finish. And it's just another form of procrastination that's come into our lives where we feel super productive, but we're actually not creating things that actually have any value or providing value for ourselves or for our customers. So the ability to step away and understand, what seed do I need to put into my business today, and what am I trying to attract or what am I trying to not attract, is going to be the key strategic thing that you need to learn in the AI era, especially as you're beginning to run your business, because we're already busy with all the tasks that we need to do. And yes, AI can help you automate tasks. AI can help you take things off your plate. It can help accelerate your knowledge. It can help facilitate, coordination between your teams and all kinds of amazing things. But it doesn't mean that all of those things are what you should be doing. Majority of those things probably don't need to be done. We need to be in a mode of subtraction, not addition. But the primary mode of AI now is addition. It's not subtraction. It wants to just continue to add, to dig, to learn. And before you know it, you're even more burnt out. You're more confused. You're more afraid than ever. And this also plays into another part of human psychology, which is the curse of knowledge. That once you learn something, you think that everybody else just must have learned it, that you're late to the party. And if that's not you, you're absolutely lucky to not have this issue. But I know for me, I am plagued with it. I will learn so many new things. I'm a learner by nature. But every time I learn something new, it's like, oh man, I can't believe I didn't know that already. And everyone else must have already known it. And I feel behind now. Now multiply that with AI and all the information that you can source from it, and especially very curated information. And it just exasperates the whole thing and can become absolutely overwhelming. And this is even truer with all the updates, all the new releases. This model can do that. This model now can do that. You need to be using this tool. This tool is going to revolutionize the world. This tool is going to make this part of work obsolete. And you just can't keep up with it. It just feels like you're constantly jumping to one platform for that platform just to all of a sudden fall out from underneath you. You got to jump to another platform, and that one's falling underneath you, and then jump to another platform. And this just kind of keeps, at least myself, I'm sure you can relate, in a state of just like panic, confusion, stress, anxiety. And that's the exact opposite promise of AI and what it can do for us. Now, if you're resonating with this, then there are options. There are things that we can do to gain control of the wild beast that is AI. There's ways to contain it in a way that will help you take your head out of the news cycles or the hype, or thinking that you're missing a key piece of information that's going to transform everything in your business. And I know that may sound kind of crazy as you're sitting here with me, listening to me talk about AI and how you can use it to leverage and help your business. But the way that I approach it is not from a place of you need to know everything. You just need to understand the principles that lay behind the technical that go into the AI. There's ways that you can leverage the technology that can be repeatable, that can grow with you, that can help you and your expertise flourish without you feeling the burnout of the constant treadmill of information and projects and things that you could do with it. So number one is that you have to understand how to self-audit. You have to learn how to self-edit. You got to get out of the AI to do this, because that's going to be a matter of your own expertise and your own life experiences, things you've learned, your ways of life and your perception of things, and just how you perceive reality and your interactions with people. And being able to self-reflect and really look at what it is you're doing on a day-to-day, and knowing first how to eliminate certain things, certain habits, certain beliefs, whatever it may be, that's going to be critical to understanding what seed you need to put into your bird feeder to get the right bird to help you grow in your business. Then number 2 is being able to take that knowledge and the things that matter that you can eliminate, and then decide, is it automatable, or does it need a human, or does it need a mixture of both? And before AI, automation is not a new thing. There's automation built into a lot of platforms, I'm sure that you use, and just even a email autoresponder sends you a request and there's an automatic email that goes out, or somebody buys something and an automatic transaction email goes out. Automation is not new. But with AI, we now have the ability for context. We have the ability to not just have, if this happens, then that. We're able to actually find out information that wasn't easily accessible within data and be able to make different reasoning and responses that are more curated and personal to the recipient. And that's amazing. And that really is just standard automation now with AI in it. And I want to break out of the habit, or I want you to break out of the habit of thinking that AI is this, this mysterious thing that's constantly thinking and doing its own journaling and finding ways to self-improve and grow to this autonomous being that can just take over the world, because it just doesn't work that way. Even the idea of agents and multiple agents really is just a piece of code that hits a certain part of its framework, and then an AI comes in and then makes a determination or helps create context to then create a response, and then either deliver that response to a human, and like whatever it may be a a report, it could be a email, whatever it may be, and then it then stops, or maybe there's another step on the other side of that, so where it calls another AI that's specifically trained to do a specific thing. Like say you want an email draft, that email gets drafted, and that email draft then gets passed off to another part of the code that has another AI that then reviews and edits that draft against some certain standards, make sure things weren't lost, and it has a smaller context window, so it's going to be more specific than maybe the general email draft that's pulling in a bunch of context from another AI agent. I mean, it just depends on whatever is happening, but that's all harnessed around code. So what I'm trying to say here is that it's the same concept of driving a car. Like, you didn't learn how to build a car before you drove a car. You weren't going into mechanic school and having to go and build the engine, build the transmission, set it all up, and then you're able to go and take lessons to drive. You don't have to do that. You just go and you learn how to drive. And the technical components underneath, they work because someone built it and tested it and made sure that the outcomes were consistent, that if you were to turn the key in the ignition, the starter would happen and the engine would fire up and that would start working. And I don't know all the components underneath the car, so forgive me if I'm missing some of the steps here, but I think you understand the point that the car, you don't need to build the car from scratch. That's what I'm trying to say. AI changes all this because AI understands coding and software very, very well. It's deterministic. It can give you something that you can test, and if it works, it works. Now, there's going to be different scales to this depending on what you're doing. If you're trying to create an app that's going to have thousands, if hundreds of thousands of users, then you would need to understand software architecture and resilience and security and governance and the things that enterprise systems teams and developers have to work with, and DevOps and all these things that most of you shouldn't have to actually worry about. If you're looking at it and how you can leverage it for your own internal systems and things to make you more efficient, then the AI can get you pretty much all the way there. And I'm going to make a quick plug here in that I have been building systems for clients using AI, and through that I've gone through all of the headaches and pains of working with AI to build things and developed my own engine, so to speak, that you can now get yourself. You can go and use the engine to just understand how to drive the AI to be able to build out project plans and iterate with you in a way that just wasn't possible before. And it will learn your business and understand the nuances of your expertise and make your expertise just enhanced, because AI without expertise is a parlor trick. Expertise without AI is now a massive ceiling. And then AI with expertise is a superpower. But again, there are things with AI that are just inherent in it that don't make it easy to work with for ongoing projects. And I've solved that with my engine. And you can take that engine and run with it, and it will transform the way that you leverage AI. And it'll take the weight off of you of having to think about, all the different news cycles with AI, the transitions, what LLM to use, which one's better this week, this one's better next week, whatever. All that doesn't matter, because if you go back to the principles of the design of the engine, it doesn't matter who drives the car. It will adapt to the driver. And this sounds interesting to you. I have a free resource where you can take a look and see how this engine is set up. And you can go down the link below, download it, read it, get a better understanding of what that is. And then if you want to take it even further, you can join one of my workshops and you'll get the download for the engine itself. And in the workshop, I walk through it, the details of it, and then we set it up together. And then by the end of it, you will have tasks automated, and you will see the power of leveraging AI in a way that is repeatable and scalable and will not erase your expertise. It will only make you better, make your teammates better, and go check that out as well. So back to the bird seed. This week, what I want you to do is just think about, what do you actually need to build towards? Have you been using AI as I feel productive because I've been doing so much that I couldn't do before type of mindset, but you're actually not shipping or doing anything with it? Or maybe you've tried using it and it just felt overwhelming and you're not using it. But again, this doesn't really matter. What I want you to do is to really take a step out of the technology. Get into nature. Go find some birds that you can watch. I'm telling you, it will unlock ideas. I mean, call it God. I believe in Jesus. I think that God speaks. He speaks through his creation. Birds, trees, all these things is his creation. AI doesn't have, AI helps you create, but AI is not the creator. It's only a pattern matcher. So get out in nature and think about what it is you're trying to accomplish. Think about what you want to create, because you are built to be a creator. That is the beauty of what AI does, is that it can now unlock ways for you to be creative that just were not possible before. So get out, get away from it, unplug, turn off your phone, take in and think about the things that you want to create. Or if in your business, think about the things that you're doing in your week. And is it just maintaining systems that could possibly not even exist in a year? And if that's the case, start thinking about how you can eliminate them. Go to AI, ask it, how do I get rid of this platform, this task, and how can I automate it? See what it tells you. And then think about what bird seed you need to actually put into the feeder. What is actually going to attract the right bird or the right customer or the right prospect, and have those conversations to advance your business. And then solve for that. That is the thing that you need to be creating. And the best thing about it is if you use the right systems, you don't need to build it once, and then you can move on to the next thing. And then you can start to think about how you don't need to be spending so much time doing what it is that you're doing on a day-to-day. You can start to eliminate, which is going to be an even challenging task, because then you're going to have a vacuum of all the stuff you have been doing that's been making you feel, useful or valuable. And you start to realize those things don't need you anymore. And that's a whole other topic, but I digress. But if you can build that margin into your life, you'll just find more ways to be of service and to be more creative. And you'll know why you are being creative, and you'll avoid that risk of burnout, that feeling of just onslaught of information and learning and the curse of knowledge, and feeling like you're behind and just constantly falling behind. This is a way out of it. Again, find out what seed you need to put into your bird feeder. Bring the right birds. Don't be building things that attract no birds or attract the squirrels or attract the bears. That's not the things you're trying to attract. So let me know in the comments below what you feel like you've been missing, Or if maybe you do know a bird seed that you need to plant and you've got to figure it out. I want to know in the comments below. Again, I appreciate you taking the time to listen to kind of this crazy idea, 2 concepts that I didn't ever think I would be putting together in a sentence. Hope it all made sense. And thank you for joining me, and I'll see you on the next video.